This next stretch is designed to work on our quads as well as our hip flexors. Now, some of our hip flexors sit tucked deep within the abdomen. They lay flush up against the low back, that lumbar spine, and they reach down and insert down on our femur or our thigh. So a good way to target our hip flexors from a standing position, you can find an ottoman, you can find a chair at home, anything that is going to be at a relatively low height, probably comes up to around your kneecap. So what you're going to do is I'm going to be focusing on stretching this right side first. So I'm going to go ahead and put my knee up here on my table. And from there, I'm just going to walk my other foot forward just enough so I can feel a little bit of a stretch here in the front of this right hip. A couple key things before we sink into this stretch that I want you to focus on. Notice as I walked my foot forward, I wasn't dumping and arching, extending at that low back. I'm trying to keep my hips in a nice tucked position, right? So how we've talked about that neutral pelvis, try to tuck that tailbone down and under, walk that foot forward, and from there, keeping this nice pressure in our abdomen, we're just going to bend that lead leg and sink into that stretch a little bit further. So a lot of people have a difficult time maintaining their hips, this pelvis tuck while we do the range of motion. So what I recommend to people is that we're just gonna sit in the stretch and do a hold as opposed to coming in and out of it. Because what I really want you to focus on is that the motion's not happening at the low back, right? We're not rounding that low back. We're shooting our hips forward and creating that stable platform and just holding. Okay. Now, if you want to incorporate a little bit more target of the quad muscles, so that was a really deep stretch. You're getting quad, you're also getting hip flexors, iliopsoas. To target the quad a little bit further, what you can do, if your range of motion allows, walk that foot back in. We're going to go ahead and try to grab this heel back here to flex the knee. And same thing, we're just gonna walk that other leg forward, tuck that tailbone under, and sit and hold the stretch. And you can see it doesn't take much for me to feel a real good stretch in that front right leg. I don't need to bend this lead leg very far for me to feel the stretch engage. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and set it up on the other side just so you can take a look to see what it looks like. Prop that left leg up. We're gonna go ahead, find that nice neutral pelvis, walk my other foot forward, and from there, I'm going to bend this lead leg, keeping my pelvis in the same position, and stretch. I'm gonna do it for a little bit just to hold, and then from there, I can go ahead back out of it, target that quad muscle a little bit more, bend this leg up, nice tailbone tuck here, walk that leading leg forward, and just hold. This is gonna be a pretty intense stretch, so play with it, see what you can go to your tolerance and to your body's mobility.